Alright, this is the beginning of my noise hunt, or hum hunt, buzz hump, whatever you want to call it. But I'm always reading books and hopefully they know what they're talking about. But I've got the 1960 over there. Thing's dead quiet, and I'm pretty sure we went through it even at Gerald Weber's amp camp. Made sure the heater wires were correctly wired so they would cancel each other out as far as hum. What the deal is you get these two wires coming off the pilot light, your heater wires for the 6.3 volts, and according to Gerald Weber, you want this one to go to the same one on the next tube, and then when it goes to these tubes, preamp tubes, you want them to go to the same terminal on the jack. So I think they're switched. I mean, these things are so solid in there from never being touched. I hate to mess with them, but I think I'm going to have to. I'm going to take the chassis out and look for the noise. It's kind of a hum that comes on about 5 seconds after I turn the standby switch off. So it's been bugging me. It just makes me think that something's not right because the other one is so quiet. Today I'm going to look for a pesky little hum, buzz, I don't know what you would call it, but it's just a little bit more of a noise than my 1960 Bassman makes. I mean, they're pretty much wired identically, but the 1960 is dead quiet, so I want this one to be dead quiet. And it's kind of a sporadic, it's always making the noise, but it kind of sizzles sometimes. You know, sometimes they'll say that's a resistor or something, but I don't think that's what it is. But we're going to go through a few things here to see if we can figure it out. Now, the only way I can even pinpoint the noise is to take the chassis out. I'm going to turn it on here and see if I can show you what it sounds like, because it sounds like it's coming back here behind the chassis. And I might do another cap job. This cap job's not that old, but the caps that I used, I know the ones had been sitting at my house for probably 3 or 4 years. And I bought them in bulk, and now that I think about it, they may have been sitting around someplace else for a few years. So I don't know. They could be leaking a little bit. They're Sprague Adams. I mean, they're good caps, and you know, a lot of people don't change those things ever. But either way, I might do a new cap job just to see if that helps, but first we'll see if we can pinpoint the sound. Turn this thing on here. It usually takes 4 or 5 seconds for the sound. There it is. Well, it came and went. Interesting. Now, one thing I did notice that Fender, back when they were putting these together in 1959, They weren't real concerned about these heater wires, the polarity or the phasing. Instead of running the same wire to the same pin on the power tubes, they ran them the opposite. And according to some experts, that adds hum or noise. There it is. Let's see if I can. You hear that? Shoot, it may be a tube, but I've removed all the tubes. We'll do that again here real quick. I'm going to pull the power tubes. We'll see what happens. That'll eliminate the heater wire noise too. Okay, I've got it on. Power tubes are out. Let's see if it shows up. Usually takes a few seconds. Kind of an interesting view of the amp. Here yet. Still nothing. Huh. Interesting. Let's look at something else. Tube chart. There it is. Hear it? Jeez. Okay, still there. Okay, I just put in a spare GZ34 rectifier. I seem to still be able to hear something even when it's on standby. Let's see again. There's the new GZ34. Seemed like when I touched the other rectifier, the sound changed just a tad. Now this speaker here has the original cone, I think. I have to say it's held up pretty well. I've been playing the crud out of it and it hasn't blown yet. The others are all reconed. I don't know, it might be something just loose. That's what's fun about these amps. They're not that hard to figure things out, even if you don't know a whole lot, kind of like me. I have guys that I fall back on. I'm actually emailing a guy, a real good friend. Actually, he's the owner of Area 51 Wawa. He does, makes great Wawas, by the way. But he helps me. Yeah, he's way more of an expert than I am. He actually does work in a shop, amp maintenance, amp repair. Yeah, we're discussing it right now, but I'm going to take the chassis out and see what happens. Okay, I got the chassis out. Not the easiest thing to do. And keep the speakers plugged in. It's just strange. I hear it, but it sounds like could be a tube. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. Took the tubes out already. So well, I don't have it off of standby yet. Let's see. It usually takes 6-7 seconds for the sound to show up. Now, surprisingly, I'm still using the same tube that was in the amp when the capacitor and the phase inverter shorted out at a gig, and it fried. I thought it fried the whole amp or an output transformer. I mean the power the output. Either way, everything was fine. But I know that one of the tubes got really hot because you could smell it. Even the drummer, I think the drummer's the first one that noticed it. He said, "What's that smell?" The good thing is this thing, I was so impressed with it. It looks so in such good shape. But I think my buddy might have been right. We'll see. I don't hear anything right now, so this may all be for naught. But he thought it could be the magnetism coming off of this power transformer coupling with the speaker coil. I honestly think it could be the rectifier. Like I said, when I touched it before, it's changed the sound. I think it's the rectifier rattling. Oh boy, I have had one of these go out. That's the one thing that's maybe not an advantage over this beefed up filtering section. It's bad on rectifier tubes if you don't bypass the standby switch and let the capacitor charge up while it's still on standby. That helps conserve or preserve the rectifier from getting shocked. Don't ask me how it gets shocked. And I've had one rectifier go out on my other amp, and this one might be going out too. I mean, these things don't last forever. I think the rectifiers have more problems with them than anything, but I do have a spare. Let's see if it rattles. I mean, right now, let's see if you guys hear anything. Pretty quiet. See what happens when I turn the volume up. Huh. That's the... Well, the good news is, doesn't seem to be anything seriously going wrong. That's why in most books, troubleshooting books, if you buy some, the first thing you always check are the tubes, and then you just work your way from there. But the tubes are what go bad usually first. And here's my beefed up filtering section, which is 110 microfarads versus the 40 that the old Bassman used to have. I'm probably going to lower this just to see, just another experiment, but trying to determine what I'm going to lower it at. I mean, the big thing now is they just don't make 20 microfarad 600 volt caps, and some people think that 500 volts that they do make is not high enough. So if you do it in series like this, like the blackface amps were done in the 60s, which is all this really is a switch over to the new blackface circuit on the filtering, is that it has a 700 volt rating, so that works out. And that's two 350 volt caps in series. You just double the voltage rating and it's 700, and you divide the microfarads, which these are both 220 microfarads, you divide that by 2 and you get 110. So you multiply the voltage times 2 and you divide the microfarads by 2, and that's what the rating will be in series. And actually the second one is beefed up too. It's 40 instead of 20. The last one's still 20. That's for the preamp tubes. These are the two main ones. You put those resistors in there to equalize the current going across. And then this is for the screens of the power tubes. And this is for the preamp tubes. So that's it. I hope you learned something. I mean, just it's not that big of a deal to get in there and do this stuff yourself if you just want to read books and learn how to do it. Okay, here's my final verdict. And luckily I think I found something, but if you look closely at the base of this rectifier tube, that does not sound good. I just want to show you, I think it was the rectifier tube that was going out. I'm just going to replace it now. But that powder's not supposed to be in there. It's something fried. That's why when I touched it, I said I thought it changed the sound. I think that's it. I'm going to turn it off. Alright, let's see if that did it. Luckily I've got a backup. Well, I was a little bummed at first. I mean, it sounded like it was still making the noise even though I switched out tubes. It's pretty quiet now. I guess it seems like these tubes kind of make noises just inherently, but it's definitely sounding better as far as I can tell. And in the front of the amp, it's pretty darn quiet. So I'm back hunting for another GZ34. I always use the Mullards. I thought they were the best, but this is the second one in about 5-6 years that I've had go bad, but I stress them pretty well. Sounds good. Volume's all the way up. I said one of these tubes is fried, but they're so closely matched and they seem to be okay on the tester. I don't know. I think the sound went away. Pretty darn quiet. Okay, successful operation. Let me put you back in here to see if you guys hear anything. Pretty quiet. Tube chart, production 44, II, 59. Clock strikes 5. All right, I'm out of here.